Hello everybody, welcome back to Roottree Mania, where we still have exactly no things confirmed. Woohoo! However, we still have lots of leads to follow. The one lead that didn't really go anywhere, like he probably does go somewhere somehow, is the stuff to do with Sicily and the legal company. Like it's probably connected to all of these things, maybe. But I think we just need to keep following what we've got, and maybe it'll all come together eventually. It's just like it's hard to know how separate these things are from each other, like other than being like visually separate. But like these might be all quite separate from each other as well. So, but yes, last time we got the 6 Pieces book, which I pretty should have gotten earlier. I know, I'm sure there's people like screaming at me because I didn't do it, but I just didn't think about it at the time. Okay, so there's this stuff. Let's look up Antonelli's. So it's local restaurant, so this will be in the Butler County Times, presumably. Antonelli's is an Italian restaurant and has been in the Butler County Times twice. The most recent time was when it closed in 1992. The owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or if she would retire. Many years before that, there's a puff piece from Valentine's Day 1978 that asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. Christine Garland responded. She and her husband Steve, who was a chef at Antonelli's, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during... This is the daughter, right? But didn't the thing say... met her daughter at one of Guy's parties? Oh, wait. Room has that her daughter showed up with Guy. So maybe she's lying a little bit here? I don't know. Sure. So we've also got another name here as well. Steve, potentially Steve Garland. Is the chef. Met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Well, the previous said caterer. I guess a chef is a kind of caterer. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, so she was delivering produce to the Italian restaurant. Okay, Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, they reconnected by chance, at this party, and eloped at the end of last year. Now she has a bud in the oven, and they're both working as much as she can. She's a secretary, but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own restaurant. Okay. So let's do some searching. I mean, I've got also you to search for. When you do this, what does it do? Okay, it fills in that bit, but... Oh, okay, that's actually something separate. I wasn't expecting that. Rochelle and her husband, Mark Zimmer... Wait, but where'd Chris? Oh no, that's the owner of the restaurant. I'm getting confused. Rochelle and her husband, Mark Zimmer, have a few mentions in the Butler County Times. Both were local business owners. Rochelle owned Antonelli's, an Italian restaurant, and Mark owned a local bookstore called Bookmarks. Both closed in 1992. Mark was also mentioned once in the Butler County Times when he was sued by Steve Garland. Oh, I get confused. Rochelle owns the Italian restaurant. Steve Garland sued Mark. Okay. Gosh, I wasn't planning to go here, but I guess I'm here now. Kitchen Tales was a story-based recipe book credited to Mark Zimmer that had some success after it was featured on the morning talk show. The book released before the internet was widespread, so mentions are rare. One book collector states that the publishers were unprepared for the demand and there was no second printing, so it's unusual to find a copy in the wild. Okay, you find an alternative medicine website which focuses on cooking with natural ingredients. It mentions that one of Kitchen Tales' recipes used salt water. The owner of the site has included a scan of that recipe, which is added to your evidence. She says, if you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. It probably cures all your diseases as well. Okay. I mean, this will also show... Oh, no. No copies available. Garnishing the Truth. Interesting. Garnishing the Truth. The entire description of this book, according to the library system, is a recipe book that contains stories. Oh no, where am I ending up? Okay, that's not there, fortunately. Garnishing the Truth is a cookbook credited to Garland and Zimmer. It was released in 1994. Oh, Steve Garland, who sued Zimmer. No, am I mixing up names? No, Mark Zimmer. Mark, is that right? Oh no. Yeah, Mark Zimmer. It was actually quite successful after the duo appeared to promote it on a daytime talk show. There have been multiple printings since. So you republished this under two authors. According to the book preview, the recipes are accompanied by stories that help the reader remember the ingredients. The reviewer says that it seems perfect for learning to cook with the entire family. Does that mean I have to search for this? Yes, okay. The introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgements from Steve. The first is Christine, thank you for everything. Christine is the owner of the... No, I don't know anymore. Rochelle, Christine, and her husband Steve. Yes, okay. So Steve worked as a chef there, okay. Okay. This is so many names. Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You are the apple of my pie. The second is to James and Robert. You're amazing. You're becoming amazing men, so it's your children probably. And incredible chefs, I get. I'm sorry. I thought it was saying, and incredible chefs, I guess. I guess I'm a good teacher. The final is to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling approach to recipes could be popular. Without you, this book couldn't exist. Okay, so there were Mark Zimmer's recipes though. There's also a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in 1978 when he taught a cooking class. Next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really, so you might wonder what I'm doing in this introduction. Well, it turns out that Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled at McCarron's Brewhouse over a game of darts. Oh my god, there's too many things. They said they'd give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. Okay. By the end of the game, he and I agreed we'd both rather make a ton of money together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. It's pretty rare to meet your best friend so late in life, but when I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we could hang out. So if you're browsing this book in the bookstore, please buy our book. We need more money for when the free beer runs out and the bookstore could probably use the sale. Boston. Browsing the book in a bookstore. Please buy a book. This is horrendous. This is too much information all at once. I'm expecting this shouldn't lead really anywhere, so I'm gonna start with that. McCarron's Brewhouse is a pub in Boston. They have a website. Apparently the bar has been around a long time. On the site there's a list of famous people that have had a drink there, including former President of the United States, not of the Roottree Company, Kennedy. There's also a few listings of television shows and books that have mentioned McCarron's, as well as how they came up. One of them is Garnishing the Truth, which the site has this to say about. Local and regular Stevie G wrote a book about food. We prefer cocktails, but he gave us a shout out and we ain't gonna say no to free press. So go grab a bite as his kids joint Fry Die and swing by to meet him for a drink. Oh dear, this is a lot. Okay. This is too much. Let's go back a bit. And try not to forget. I mean, I've got things here, I guess. I could also be organising this a bit more, I guess. So we're going to make a page for anything related to this story. So we've got Rochelle Zimmer. Was that connected to that? Yes, that was. That's a different Beth. Christine Garland responded. She and her husband Steve. This was connected to that. Not that one. This one. Okay, that's everything then. Okay, let's flip back over to that page. Okay. So, we already searched for you, right? Did we? And where did we search for you? Yes, we read this already. Nothing? Okay. Mark Zimmer, start searching for you. So Rochelle was your married name. Rochelle and her husband Mark Zimmer. The other problem I've got here is that what I actually need to know is the people who have like had affairs with people in the Roottree family, or maybe have had affairs, and these might just be people related to those people in some way. Rochelle and her husband Mark Zimmer have a few mentions in the Butler County Times. Both were local business owners. Rochelle owned Antonelli's, an Italian restaurant. Oh, this is the same page I was looking at. I was like reading on autopilot, so that's why I wasn't thinking about the fact that I'd already read this. Okay, so that goes nowhere new. Steve Garland, though, who is... There was Elizabeth's daughter, who's somebody whose name I've seen, but I don't remember. Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple of articles. The first was an article about how he met his wife Christine Garland, when he worked at Antonelli's. The second is from months later, in September of 1978, a listing for his weekend cooking classes, Gourmet for the Groovy. And who are you? You were the chef? And Mark Zimmer just married... Yeah, okay. And Mark was accused of stealing the recipes of the chef, okay. Gourmet for the Groovy. The blurb mentions that he's been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month so that he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from 1991. It's titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Residents. It seems that local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales. Oh, did we look that up in the thing? Yes, we did. That led us to the other one. Yep. Where was I? Here? His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. The article mentions that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction about how he learned it. This usually doubles as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. Apparently these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories that followed the same format. Okay, Steve Garland. Let's also look you up on here. And then we've got... what was your name? Christine Garland. Antonelli's, oh yeah, I guess it's this page. So you're the most likely person to be like the connection. We've also got a bit of evidence we gained. Kitchen Tales is a book that combines recipes and stories. It had mild popularity but seemed to disappear from online marketplace in 1992. You found a scan of one story on the website. It demonstrates how to bake the Plaited loaf? Oh yeah, okay. Jeez, is this gonna be like referencing an actual thing that's happened or something? Okay, this is the original book. For years, the two bakers, Flora and Yates, flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about one another, but he was one day whisked away, conscripted to bake the army's bread. By the oil of the lamp, Flora's tears began to salt her bread. The recipe asks the reader to combine flour, yeast, sugar, olive oil, and rosemary, combine the salt and water together, and add to the mixture and whisk until the dough begins to form. Okay? It was 10 to 12 years later that they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her a position as the king's personal baker. Is this an analogy to what's her face? Christine working for the Roottrees? Because there was something about they were together and then they flirted while he was working there and she was delivering, but then she went and became a secretary. I think that's what's going on. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift, 450 unbaked loaves, and were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that required no kneading. Allow the dough to proof for 10 to 12 hours, then spread it out and let it sit for over 45 minutes on a floured baking sheet with no kneading. Next, prepare a Dutch oven preheated to 450 degrees. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was both delighted and distraught. She felt as if she was torn in two. She had not been made aware of the gift and had already prepared buns for the palace ovens. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fears that he'd be unable to bake with her. This is definitely innuendo, isn't it? That she'd faced retribution for being unprepared. She cried to Yates, adding more salt to her dough, cut the dough into 2 equal pieces and lightly sprinkled salt across the top of only one of them. Yates eased her pain. He insisted she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought impossible. Oh gosh, I'm lost. But he shared her fear of retribution. What? What's going on? Flora is the king's personal baker. You baked for the kingdom's first 45 diplomats. One day, they returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift. Who returned? 450 unbaked loaves and were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that required no kneading. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was... I think you're talking about Yates then, that's the they. Flora was both delighted and distraught. She felt as if she was torn in two. She had not been made aware of the gifts and had already prepared buns. Okay, so you'd already made buns, and the gifts had been brought. Made by Yates. That he'd be unable to bake with her, that she'd face retribution for being unprepared. She cried to Yates. Yates eased her pain, insisting she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought impossible. Him returning, but he shared her fear of retribution. He knew if they did not solve the predicament, they'd miss their final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of wallowing in the present, they worked together to shape the future. They twisted and entwined their doughs and baked them as one. Oh gosh, does this recipe require making these 2 bits of bread and then doing that to them? Thus was born the Plaited Loaf. Word quickly spread of this new delight. The king's decree on royal parchment was that it would be considered a delicacy. Roll and twist the pieces to entwine them, then take the twist and wrap around the inside of the Dutch oven, atop parchment from outward inward to make a spiral. Bankrolled by the king, Flora and Yates spent their days baking together. They travelled for 45 years and settled down for 15 more. Their souls were golden with no regrets. Lastly, bake for 45 minutes, remove lid, and observe until crust is golden brown, which could take up to 15 minutes. Okay, do I get anything from that? I think I get what I get the analogy, I think. Although, apparently this leads to 2 more things. I mean, we could search for Flora and Yates. Nothing. We could search for that. Nothing. Yeah, all the numbers are just to help remember the details of the thing. Okay. Apparently that leads to something. Where did I get to with the previous stuff? I no longer remember. I was searching for you. Nothing. So you were another... Oh gosh, what years were these? 1992, 1994. So 1993-ish was when you were 7. Was when you died. So 1990. Yeah, so 16 years before that. So 1777. So 1977. I clearly put the 7 in the wrong place. 1977 would have been this affair. When are we in this new one? Also, I guess I do know that the game expects me to use information like that. So 2 children. They were married, split up. I think maybe that story is implying that they never split up, so it might be this one. Yeah, when are we in that whole thing? Not that. Yeah, here. 1992. (1978) asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. Christine Garland responded, she and her husband Steve. She's secretary but went back, but then they eloped. Okay. They're opening their own restaurant in Boston. Mother's Farm. That's Elizabeth. Okay, so she has a bun in the oven, she's pregnant, and they're both working as much as she can. Grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers. 1978 Valentine's Day. So that doesn't. That's years ago that they met. It was 1978 that you're saying this. So you're pregnant. So you've just re-met Steve Garland. At the end of last year. Okay, 77. So that aligns kind of similarly with this one. So I think it is like this to be this one. 2 kids. So but it wasn't an infidelity from your side. You were just dating Guy Hudson. You went to the thing. We should look that up as well. But I think this is right. Oh, do I know your maiden name? Oh yeah, maybe if we search Elizabeth, we would maybe. So you are Steve Garland? No, sorry, first name first. Stephen Garland. We did get information about that. Oh, we also had a name of a restaurant to look up, but I can't remember who that was. But we think you then are, I can't remember your name. Christine? Something like that. Christine Garland, okay. But not your surname. Okay. And what was your occupation? Last we knew, you were a secretary. But went back to delivering produce and just opened their own restaurant. Did they do that? Maybe. Owner. That's a little ambiguous then. I think we had information about your kids. Where was that? Oh, we had lots of stuff. Did I not note down the kids' names? I swear it came up somewhere. Aha, yeah, there. I didn't note it down. Whoops. Incredible chefs, so they're both chefs. Okay. James and Roberts. I guess we don't know which order, but then there was something about the where was the I did make note of this other thing. Where is it? I did make note of it. There, here. So go grab a bite. It's Kids Joint Fried Eye. Yes, okay, Fried Eye. Holy moly. Fried Eye is a popular restaurant in Boston. They don't have a website, but many locals seem to mention them in various places. One more in-depth review explains that it's not a full restaurant, just a front door and a very small interior with a window. Is it like on the side of the other restaurant? Unusually, the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. mean, vegetables are often delicious. You also find a short story about it listed on a website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to just link to random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give their relatively short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. It has this to say about Friday: wicked overrated. I saw it in Chef's Signatures. Oh gosh, no. No. So I went and there was a huge line and they didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? Okay. That's going to be a periodical where we can search for fried eye and it'll probably have a picture of something. My Boston homepage run by someone with eclectic tastes. They claim to rate things on a scale from wicked awful to wicked wicked. The most recent thing to receive a wicked awful was an antique store called Bee's Things. Apparently the owner, Beatrice, is not very friendly. There's too much stuff. The most recent establishment to receive a wicked wicked is the comic book store in Cambridge called The Million Year Picnic. Cambridge, Massachusetts. As far as you can tell, nothing besides fried eye seems to be connected to your search in any way. Okay. Well, okay, I think you're telling me not to search that stuff, but sure, whatever. Okay, so this is clearly going to be a periodical, which I'm terrified about. Yep. Chef's Signature is a magazine related to food and trendy restaurants. Fried eye. Fried eye. Yep. Chef's Signature covered fried eye less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Each article in Chef's Signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine's name implies, each restaurant lists the one main dish that the head chef is known for. Fried eye's signature is the samosa cone. That sounds nice. The cover of the main article has been added to your evidence. Okay, so that's just one thing then, okay. Alrighty. Is this the Two Brothers? Can a vegetarian diet be trendy? 1998. Sitting down with the Garlands, the new boys in Boston. Alright. Chef's Signature, a nationally published magazine. There's so much reading in this game. Chef's Signature, a nationally published magazine targeted towards fans of unusual restaurants, featured James and Robert Garland on the cover of their November 1998 issue. I don't know in which order. According to the article, the two brothers own a small walk-up window in Boston called Fried Eye, a play on the tie-dye shirts that the servers wear. Okay. That exclusively serves vegetarian dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by the powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. Their signature dish is a samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles traditional ice cream, complete with a waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a special... This sounds amazing! I want this. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James. Okay. Oh, do we have to do another age thing? You look younger, if I were to guess, but... It's only 3 years. Jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life. Is that what that is? What do sous chefs wear? According to a glossary of kitchen terms, sous chef is the second in command behind the head chef. Sous chefs traditionally wear red jackets. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So, Robert is the youngest. And you wear and that's you. Robert, youngest 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 you. Robert. Garland. You. James? Is sous chef a separate thing or no, just chef? I think we have more than 4 things in, so something's wrong. Oh no, because I removed a surname, didn't I? Also Garland's. Okay. Is that all the ones I had filled in? Okay. I was right that it was the second one. I did that based on dates. It's the first time we've actually used dates. Oh, hello. Oh, it's you again.
Has Clark reached out to you? Well, let me give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life. 3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees. First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news. I felt terrible. So I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me. I went to the media prematurely.
Got it.
I admit my mistake there.
That was the anonymous.
But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions.
Okay.
But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down.
Oh dear. Oh, I didn't need this.
The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful. Good.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Oh my god, you just added 7 things. I haven't finished reading that yet. Wait, no, you added 3 things. Oh, maybe these have multiple pages. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So I think that did confirm everybody I'd fully put in. Yeah, okay. That's good. Oh, I guess I didn't get your thingy. I also don't know your final occupation. Let me finish reading that thing, otherwise I'll forget. As a result, James answers most of the interviewer's questions. James credits his love for food and his culinary skills to that upbringing. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father's a chef, and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied his restaurants. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk, but they told me stories. My dad's a great storyteller. He even wrote a book that partially helped fund Friday. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. Okay, his line cook gig, what does that mean, ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and she had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunts. She had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunts. Okay, because they were both working. Okay. Secretary is most likely, I think. Do we have a picture of you? I don't think we do. In the diner where he worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he'd exercise his line cook is just like a lower position in the kitchen, I think. But there had no room for experimenting, so he'd exercise his skills at home on his days off. We'd always go shopping and cook as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around and causing a ruckus, they were some of our family's favourite memories since we were all together. Mum always had the eye for the best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass that on to us. According to the article, their parents, who are now retired, visit Friday often. They even have a signature dessert, the Sistine apple. Okay. Apple pie, right, you mentioned that about the apple pie. Apple pie has always been my mum's favourite, and my dad always had this stupid line he used to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realise it's a Sistine Chapel pun, right? Sistine Apple, yes. I assume that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. What? They even have a signature dessert, the Sistine Apple. Apple pie has always been my mum's favourite, but they always had this stupid line, yes, you're the apple of my pie. Most people realise it's a Sistine Chapel pun, yes. I assume that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. Is it possible your name's Sistine? And there's a multi-layered apple of my pie? No. I mean, it'd be funny if it's an option. No, it's not. Okay. Okay. I feel like there's one last thing I want to follow up on with regards to that. Which is going way back. Oh god, there were so many things. What even was this? Oh, there was the implication that wouldn't lead anywhere. Wait, chef's signature? Oh yeah, that was the thing. Oh no. Yes, there was that. So this all started way back, like here. The first bullet point. Elizabeth. Would I know your name? Elizabeth would be your mum. I don't think I know your name. That's why I'm trying to find you. Elizabeth. Elizabeth. So yeah, I guess the implication is that these children may or may not be from Guy. Yeah, okay. I think the story about the bread maybe implied that it actually is Guy's children. I wonder if it's going to ask me that at the end. Like which one of these, like which children are Guy's children? Oh, it's totally going to ask me that, isn't it? This is kind of terrifying. Okay. Wait. Oh no, you're just the name. I haven't confirmed with that yet. Okay. Alright. Do we have any men's pictures available? Or we do. You may have had an affair, possibly. Elizabeth. I don't know how I'd figure that out. There's no like farming periodical or whatever. Elizabeth is a bit like vague, right? It's way too vague. Okay. And we did already search for her, the daughter. Didn't we? Did we not? Maybe we didn't. Okay. When your name was Christine Garland. Christine Garland. Nothing relevant. Just this story. Oh, so possibly I did and it just came up with this. I don't think it would come up anywhere else, right? Okay. Oh, dairy meat. Dairy meat. Fried eye. So I've got to get a picture of you somehow. Where would that come from? Possibly from these new files we've got. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't worry too much about it for now. Like, that stuff's all organised on that page. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got a whole load of new files, and maybe they'll lead to some of the information I'm looking for. So, might as well work with those. Alrighty, see you next time, folks, and we'll start digging into this mess. Goodbye.